What's up, y'all? It's Caitlin
and Mallory
from Sunny Days Podcast, and we have a special guest on today, Pete, top right corner.
What's up, guys?
We have Stevie from the Final Store On the Flythe podcast, also known as Mallory's dad.
Yep.
And he has actually been wanting to hop on for a long time, like total fan of ours. He has wanted to jump on one of our podcasts for months now, and I think he's ready. I think
so too. I think he's made it.
I'm glad I'm finally ready to do a podcast.
We've actually been on his channel a couple times, I think now.
Yeah, you've been on a couple times. Because you bullied your way into the Star Wars one that time. And then I had you guys on when you first started the Sunny Days podcast. So yeah, you guys been on twice now.
Yes, we owe it all to him. We know everything podcasting, and
I don't know about that.
I don't
even know everything, so I haven't taught y'all everything I know.
This
you're a good mentor.
Stuff. Yes, it's a great little tool. You are a little tool.
I'm a tool. Is that what you're saying? You just call me a tool.
Dang.
We also just love to pick on Stevie.
Look, I've been raised, especially by my dad, to know enough that if you're not picking with somebody, you can't have fun. You don't need to do it because you can't have fun with somebody. It ain't no fun. I'll put it that way. So I'm all for the picking, and I'll dish it right back at you.
I do not pick on anyone I don't love because that would just be.
That's exactly. If I don't pick on you, that means I probably don't like you.
Exactly.
Well, that really is.
Yes. So with this episode, we want to talk about consistency, podcasting, and running. So if you followed us, you know that me and Mallory started running, trying to train for a 5K. We do our podcast, and like we said earlier, we really look up to Stevie's podcast, and we have always taken notes and things from his podcast, and we just really want to talk with him a little bit and have a little bit of mentorship on this episode about how he stays consistent, because me and Mallory are actually falling short on the running and the podcast, and Stevie is just getting it out. I mean, every day, if you follow him on social media, he's on Facebook. Do you do some things on Instagram?
I don't do much on Instagram. See, I've never. You guys, this is where turnabout could be fair play. You guys could teach me more about Instagram because I am not good with Instagram at all. I've tried, and I'm like, I just don't. Yeah. Some of my stuff I automatically post on Instagram. So, but as far as getting it out there, that's where I might need you guys' help on that. I'm not good with that.
Instagram's good. I actually post first on Instagram, and it links to my Facebook. The Sunny Days, I think, does better on Facebook, but my personal page does better on Instagram. So it's just really weird how all that works. But
it's funny because I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about it. It's funny how certain posts will do so great. The ones that you don't think will do anything, they do so great. And then the ones that, oh gosh, this is going to barely do anything. So I wish, it is my goal to find out for this algorithm crap, what is the perfect one to do every time. But I don't think it exists, though. I don't think it exists.
No, it doesn't, because I actually have that dashboard on my page, and it'll tell me 1 month to do 10-second videos. They'll reach more. And now all of a sudden it's 1 minute videos. Now you can post no longer than 3-minute videos. It changes every month, I feel like. So I think that's just going to be something we just have to go and roll with.
I think
Facebook
the people
in general is not consistent. See,
I think the people in charge of that little dashboard deal, the little thing, like, watch out, we're going to mess with them again this month.
No joke.
We can make them do anything.
Yeah, their budget is reached, so they're like, let's make it a little harder.
Exactly.
Calm down on it.
But you can find Stevie on Facebook, and if you follow him on Facebook, and I've seen some things on TikTok, you see him running every single day, almost, literally, almost every day. Or walking. I've heard my customers at the store, they were like, well, I mean, he walks.
I do. And look, if you will look at the descriptions on the videos I do, some of them say walk, some of them say run. I don't, and I'll get, look, I'm 52 years old. I am not what is it? Toby Keith said, I'm not as good as I once was, not as good once as I ever was. So yeah, I'm not getting out there. I'm not going to be a professional runner. I'm doing what I can to keep, and we'll get more into that, why I do it and the reasons why. But some days I just feel I'd rather walk. I'd rather listen to, I'll listen to other podcasts, and and then some days I'll get out there, and some days I go twice a day. So one part of the day I'll walk, the other part of the day I'll run. So, but
I love that.
We'll get into that when you guys get into that, because this is your baby right here. Don't let me.
Well, look, I really think it's really cute that a customer noticed that. I don't know this customer. They're from Lasker and obviously knows you, because anyone from Lasker knows you guys. But they're like, hey, how's Mallory and Stevie doing? And I'm like, they're good. They're saying how they see you walking all the time, and you literally will walk in all sorts of weather. And I think that's really cool, and that's a part of the consistency of it. Like, people notice when you don't think you do. So I thought that was a really cool share. But we'll go back to the consistency part and podcasting part. How long have you done your podcast?
So when I started out, it was just the Final Score. It was just sports. And anybody knows anything about Lasker knows we have like 60, maybe 70 people in this town. And we just a few years ago got high-speed internet. Up until then, we had, I can't even think of the name of that piece of crap internet. We had, what was it called?
What was it?
The satellite internet. I can't think of the name. HughesNet.
Yeah.
HughesNet, yes.
Yeah. Shameless plug for HughesNet. Not. So what I had to do, and I have to go a little bit further back. The thing that made me want to do the podcast was there's a guy that he still does a weekly sports show on 98.3 Muffinsboro's radio station, Gaddis Hodges. Me and him were really good friends, and Mallory's been in there with me before when she was younger. I'm not going to say little. We used to do an NFL mock draft every year at the radio station, and that just got me like, gosh, I wish I had something I could do that. So when the podcasting thing come along, I was like, and it was kind of like I was handcuffed. I was like, what do I do? I mean, I want to do this podcast, but how do I do it? I don't have good internet to do it. So actually, Gaddis told me, he said, you can do interviews. He showed me a little device that it's Bluetooth, and it'll connect to your phone. Mm-hmm. So I was doing interviews over my cell phone, and I was editing them down. And I mean, the sound was terrible. I mean, it sounded like a telephone call.
Yeah.
And that just grew into when we finally got the internet to that. So it's been about, I would say, 7 or 8 years with the Final Score. And it got so good to me with interviewing people. And I had so many other ideas with like music and stuff like that. I said, after advice from some friends, I said, I'll just expand it, and we'll have On the Flythe, which everybody says On the Flythe, or on the whatever they want to call it. So that was a couple years after. So it's been about 5 years. We just did 200 episodes of the Final Score. And when you talk about consistency with this, I will tell you this, and I said it on one of my videos just the other day. I took a semi-break from this. So consistency with the podcast is not, you're talking to the wrong one. But my thing is, you guys are lucky because you got you two to bounce stuff off each other. And a podcast goes so much better when you got two people to bounce stuff off of, whether you agree with stuff or not. Matter of fact, a lot of times when you don't agree about it, sometimes that makes for a better show.
It works better. Yeah, it
But
can.
the thing is, I've had co-hosts over the years, and for one reason or another, people didn't have time, and I totally understand that. And some other things popped up on another podcast that I'm not going to get into on that one, but getting up there by yourself and finding the motivation to come up with something week after week to do it, because I was doing weekly podcasts, and that's the way I want to do it. I want to be consistent enough where I can do On the Fly once a week. I want to do the final score 1 week. And it's not a problem. What I said in the video the other day when I was telling people about trying to get it cranked back up again, it's not a problem once I get there. Once I get up here, like talking to you guys, it's flowing.
Yeah.
But writing that, and I write down ideas all the time. I've got a notebook. I write down my ideas all the time, and I think you guys do the same thing. And it seems like I look at it, and when it seems like such a good idea at the time, I'm like, gosh, that's a good idea. And then a day later when I look at it, I'm like, people don't want to hear me talk about that. I'm just amazed sometimes at the people that do listen to me talk about crap like this. I've said many a time over the years, I'll go back to 20 years ago when somebody told me that I worked with at a grocery store in a Hosky, you know more useless information than anybody I know. And that stuck with me.
That's not a bad thing, though.
I say that on the podcast, and I'm proud of it. I'm one of the masters of useless information.
I love that.
Like a Jedi Knight of useless information. Star Wars reference in there. But that's the thing with me with the podcast. It's finding somebody to bounce stuff off of, to get on the show and to be good, that won't be up there going like, oh yeah, that's what I think too. You don't want that, but to find somebody that I can click with, like you two click.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can see that you guys got chemistry, and I mean, not just because you're family,
right?
You guys are close, and it works, and people see that, and I know you guys have heard it. I've heard it about your podcast. You guys click well together, and that is one of the most important things about a podcast. I got advice from other podcasters over the years. Matter of fact, one guy was so nice, didn't know me. It was a KISS podcast. Didn't know me from just commenting on this podcast. He said, give me your phone number. When I was first starting, give me your phone number. He talked to me on the phone for an hour one night. And we talked about doing things with the podcast. And he gave me little tips, stuff like that. And I've never forgot that. That was so nice. But I wish, that is what my goal right now. I know you guys make a lot of goals, and I do too. One of my goals is to be more consistent this last half of the year with my podcast. If I could get as consistent with the podcast as I do with running, I would be great.
Well, you say you haven't been consistent, but I don't see that just because I see you on social media still going and posting and doing things. And that's what I told Mallory before when we were running late on our last episode. I was like, well, let's just post in the stories and post on social media because they still see you showing up. So regardless if it's a full episode, they still see you. You're still there. It's not like you've just ghosted. So I really see you still showing up because I've seen several posts here recently that have caught my eye. And I'm like, look, he's consistent. Like, there he is. And then the useless information and wanting someone to hop on. You should definitely get Austin on your podcast one day because he is, when you say like someone that has useless information, that is Austin. He hits me with the most random facts. And I'm like,
well, that may be something.
Would I ever had
I have talked to him about, if me and Jack, one of the other family members, Jack Jones, we can never get back on the Star Wars deal again, which Jack's got a lot going on right now too. But I have talked to Austin about coming on for his favorite Star Wars movie, and I won't give that away yet because I want that to be a surprise for people when he comes on. But we've actually talked about having him on the show, so that will happen, and we'll see how
Yes.
that goes. And that may, that may venture into other episodes with Austin too. You can't just, and that's one of the things I always say, you can't just go out there and say, hey, this guy, like, I'm a huge Steelers fan. I can't just go out and say, hey, that guy likes the Steelers. I'm going to make him a co-host of the show. That did, I mean, we may not click. He may get up there and get cold feet. He may not be, and I'm not saying I'm good in front of the camera or I'm good on the microphone or anything, but I'm just saying somebody that clicks with me is what I need. And we'll see how that goes. But for right now, and I've got, don't get me wrong, I've got, it's just amazing. And this is something you two guys need to do too. You need to schedule some interviews. You need to go look at other podcasters that are in the same realm as you are, because I will tell you this, I've met some of the best people. Mallory will tell you. I've got some of the best friends that I've never laid eyes on in my life through podcasts. Just like I told you about the guy that sat on the phone with me for an hour talking about things. That guy, his co-host. Let's see. There's several. I've got podcasters right now. They're like, one guy messaged me the other night. Said he's been on the show. I've been on his show. He was like, "Hey man, we need to connect again. Whether it's just doing the podcast or just sitting there talking."
Yeah.
And there's another podcast I'm on right now. It's an ECU. It's a sports podcast. I've got one of the, Mallory will tell you, Kyle, one of the guys I talk to him almost every day. So the podcasting world,
really, really tight.
Yeah, the podcasting world is, and it's great to meet other people that have the same interests as you and connect and make those connections, because you never know what that might lead to. I'll tell you this funny story, and then I'll let you guys move on. How connecting with somebody helps. Like I said, I'm a diehard Steelers fan, and when I first started, I was just anybody that had anything to do with the Steelers, I was reaching out to on social media. Hey, this is what I'm doing. So this one guy, and he wasn't a Steeler that a lot of Steelers fans will recognize, but I talked to him. We sat there for an hour doing an interview one night, and at the end of the interview, it made me feel so good, because he said, "You're part of the family now." He said, "You got my number." He said, "And I'll help you get some of the Steelers that you want to get the interview." And I'm sitting there like, okay, whatever, blah, blah. You just telling me that on the air. You just telling me that. So after it was over, I was like, you know what? I'm calling him back. And I called him the first time. It went straight to voicemail. I was like, And then I said, nope, I'm calling again. Called him, got him. And I just told him, thank you. I appreciate your time. And, taking the time out. You didn't have to do that, but I thought it went really well. He said, yeah. He said, and guess what? I got those Steelers you wanted to interview. I've got one on the line with you right now. And if I'm naming my top 5 Pittsburgh Steelers of all time, this guy's in my top 5. The first Steelers jersey I ever bought was this guy, Rod Woodson. And the guy, I said, who is it? He said, Rod Woodson. I said, stop lying. And all of a sudden you hear Rod Woodson's voice in the background. Hey, buddy, how you doing? I'm like, my jaw hit the floor. And within 4 or 5 months, I had an interview with Rod Woodson, and I had 3 more interviews that guy set up for me. So making contacts like that will help your podcast too. That's one. And another, I'm sorry, I'm going to ramble on about my podcast a little bit.
No, it's okay.
This is the point.
There was another one. There was another Steeler. He's a legendary Steeler. He passed away. He just passed away about a year or 2 ago. But when I asked him about it, he said, I'll give you 30 minutes. And usually when I do an interview, it'll be over an hour. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, gosh, I can't get everything I want to in 30 minutes, but I'm going to have to do the best I can with what I got. So we started the interview, and I looked at my clock, and I was aware of the time. I was like, okay, 30 minutes went by. Okay. And I'm not going to say anything unless he said something about it. We talked for about an hour and a half. And when it was over, I said, "I'm sorry, sir." And I said, "I know we tore that 30 minutes all to pieces." And he was like, he said, "I'm going to tell you this. When I tell people 30 minutes, it's because I don't know what I might be getting trapped into." He said, "But in the first 5 minutes of talking to you, I knew you knew what you were talking about. You did your homework, and that I knew I was going to enjoy this." And that led to several other. Me and him had several conversations over the years about Steelers and stuff like that. He helped me get another Steelers interview. So, yeah, it's been something. If I don't make a penny off of the podcast, to be able to talk to these people that I never would have had a chance to talk to. I mean, I remember one of the first interviews I did on the Flythe was a group called the Flux Capacitors, and they were a Back to the Future. Believe it or not, Back to the Future dress. They dressed like the characters from Back to the Future, and they played the '80s music. They were on. If you bought the Back to the Future anniversary DVD, they're on there on the documentary. That guy, after it was over, told me, and I'm not patting myself on the back, but I'm not going to. I'll say it like this: some people will get this reference. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but the guys from that group told me, he said, "Look, we've been on Fox News, we've been on CNN, and nobody did research about this group the way you did."
That's awesome. That's a great compliment.
We still talk back and forth to this day, and that's been 4 or 5 years ago. But next question, please. I've rambled on for 20 minutes, but
I love that, and I say that all the time. I felt that way with direct sales, like having the team and talking to other leaders and other people, and even at the storefront, just talking to other vendors. I probably would have burned out if I didn't make those connections.
Yeah.
And it keeps you inspired when you talk to other people, and it keeps you just fueled. So I definitely want to do that with the podcast. Me and Mallory have actually talked before about, some of the same like influencers that we follow on social media. They have been from all over the world, and there's like these 4 or 5 girls that they met over the internet doing some of the same like things, and now they're all best friends. They do vacations all the time together, and I just think that's really cool that you can meet people from all across the states like that over social media. And we do a lot of our podcast stuff on social media, so it would be very interesting to do that. And we are kind of shy, and we haven't directly messaged. We've messaged Deer Park. We're trying to talk to Deer Park, but talking to other podcasters and things like that would be really interesting. We have to look into the podcast world more, and because we're out there, we're like, what? I watch like Bunny XO, and she might email me back. But
let me tell you guys, I'm gonna bring up Gaddis's name again, because this is what I always, whenever he comes, he for the last 18 years between his show and on my podcast, we've done a mock draft. So I always introduce him like my mentor.
Yeah,
my mentor / friend.
And he's one of the best ones to be a mentor to. I will give him so much credit.
Mallory's been in the studio with him. She sees how he works.
He's awesome.
When I started talking to him about interviewing people and reaching out, and I was like, I don't know, I don't want to bother people. He was like, "Stevie, what is the worst they could do?
Yeah.
They could tell you no, or they could just ignore you. What have you lost? You haven't lost anything." And that, I was like, yeah, you're right. So that's when I just started reaching out to everybody. So you guys, if you guys got somebody out there, because let me tell you, there's been several of them I never in a million years thought I would get. And I reached out, and I hear back from them, and you may not hear back from them that day. It may be weeks or months before you do. There was a group back in the 80s, a family group, music group called the Jets. They had Make It Real was a hit song. What was it? You Got It All. There was girls and guys. It was like 8 of them. And it was one of my favorite groups. And I reached out to them, had them on. And it took a while, but they finally said, "Hey, let's set up a time." And I was just like,
we're going to manifest Mallory's favorite Sadie, because she has actually messaged Mallory back a few times, and she would be so cute.
Exactly. That would be a great episode for you guys to have.
Oh my gosh. That would, I would feel completely fulfilled.
So add Sadie in the bio.
Yes, we will. I just wanted to mention, because I got my phone over here with my notes and stuff. Deer Park just sent us a message, and they said, always here to fuel your sessions.
Yes, because I tagged them again. I am consistently tagging them until we get one of those big water jugs.
I swear.
That's the thing you need to do too. I mean, you never know. You don't know. I mean, really. Yeah. I mean, they might say, "Hey, let's see what this is all about." Right. And you really don't know. Somebody may be watching you. You don't even know.
Yeah. So, Deer Park, if you're out there,
look, so they're going to get tired of us tagging them. Let's just send them some merch real quick.
Even just the merch. I would wear that in the podcast episodes and work our way up. You know.
I was just talking about this on last week. We did a Stanley Cup recap, and one of the guests on there was a band, a lead singer from a band in Canada that I did an interview with. His name's Warren Meredith from a band called Tame and Sorry. Guess what I got in the mail about? He's been on the show 7 times. And I got in the mail, it probably been about a year ago, a box, and it was what they call swag. Free swag. Yeah. Hats, shirts, bumper stickers, autograph picture stuff. So yeah, I mean, and that's you don't ever know what might happen when you connect with these people.
Right. So. It's awesome. I mean, just for the messages back from Deer Park, because they really do, like when we tag them and stuff, most of the time they will respond. And I remember the first time they ever responded to us, and we were at the park with Watson, and I felt a ding on my phone or whatever and looked, and we freaked out just because it's just the first
one. You don't know what it might be.
Exactly. Like what it will lead into one day. So yeah, that's really, really cool. And it's so cool how it just happened right then. Like as we were talking about it, that's confirmation. That is confirmation. So I love
just keep it up. Just keep it up. Don't get discouraged.
Yeah. Yeah.
I definitely try to stay consistent on the social media. I told Mallory, even if I don't have content, I'll go, I don't know if you've seen it. It's like thoughts on the top of the page. And I'll just put an emoji there.
See, I don't know anything about. That's another thing I don't know about how to do, because I see you doing that all the time, and I'm like, I mean, I don't. I'm like,
yeah. When you do that, it pops up. I think when they go to their messenger, so like they'll just see you, and if they're nosy, they'll click your page. So it's just something I try to do if I don't have anything major to post. So I have been very consistent on the social media pages. So we're trying. We're definitely going to reach out to podcasts. So that was really good advice. So thank you for that.
And like you said, me putting the videos up like I do, I don't do it daily, but I do put up a lot of stuff, stories up there, and that's what I'm trying to do. Just keep the podcast, both the podcasts in the loop. So I'm not going away because I enjoy doing the podcast too much.
Yeah, for sure.
And hooking up with you guys like this, talking to you guys. That's what it's all about. You got to make contacts.
Connections, contact.
This was the easiest one you could get right here, because I mean, I say no to Mallory about coming on the podcast. So.
That's so nice, so sweet.
It took long enough. I was supposed to be the first guest. You guys told me that, and I wasn't the first.
Well,
all right. Look, we're here now. That's all that matters. We're here.
So we actually use the content from your podcast, though. So weren't you kind of like the first guest?
Right. First face.
Guest. Yeah, the first face.
Kind of, sort of. I guess we'll let that slide.
We collabed either way. But one of our other questions, and then we'll move on to the running. We wanted to ask, from day one to now, like, if you could go back to day one, what would you tell yourself about your podcast? Like something that you wish you would have known, or even just something positive to uplift that day one feel?
Ooh, I would tell myself, because this is one thing that where I tell you guys, don't get discouraged. That would be one thing with me. Don't get discouraged. Because everybody's got to start somewhere. You're not gonna be one of these podcasts that just takes off overnight. You're not Joe Rogan. I mean, you don't have that name. And for a while there, I was like, what am I really doing here? I mean, did people want to hear this? And once I would be like, and there's been a few times where I was just like, you know, I'm not going to do it anymore. It's not worth it. I'll just give it up. And then I'll get a message, or episode will really take off. Um, my best episode was a guy. I don't know. This will prove to you, you don't ever know, because this was an episode I didn't think would really do jack crap. I mean, nothing against the guest, but a guy that does these mashup songs, and he is really famous. His name is DJ Cumberbund.
I remember that.
And that, I have not looked lately at it, but that episode just took off. And I mean, it was consistently every month doing like really good. And I was like, what is the deal with this? I mean, I did an episode with a big 80s band, and it didn't do half of what, I mean, not even half of what this has done. And like I said, I haven't looked at what it's done now, but I mean, it was just great. And I told the guy, I messaged the guy, I said, you are by far the highest listened to show that I've ever had. So that's what I would probably tell myself. Don't get discouraged, because, and don't, I don't want to just come out the wrong way. Don't take it too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, work hard at it. Because there's nothing, if I didn't work hard at it, then I wouldn't want to do it. I mean, that's the way I am with anything. I work hard at everything I do. Now, there's another toot again, but
that's okay.
That's just the way I am. And if I got discouraged, like I said, those 2 or 3 times where I just want to call it quits, and something would always pop up. And I'm this way about it, guys, and I know you two are probably the same way. Everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely.
And those times that I got discouraged, something would pop up and just make me want to, all right, got to keep on going. When it was time for me to like try to give it up, something was there to say, it's not time for you to give it up. Don't give it up yet. Yeah. Something big's coming. And just like the Rod Woodson thing, that led to a bunch of different things. And ECU football, I would get a bunch of ECU football players on, and one of them got on there one night and said, oh, gosh, I know you guys don't know much about the ECU football. Mallory knows a little bit. I don't know if Caitlin does or not. But one of the best teams they ever had was in 1991. And I got a ton of guys from that. And one of those guys that came on the show before we went on the air, he said, oh, man, we've been listening to you for a long time. Everybody listened to you. He said, I called somebody the day you had so-and-so on and said, hey, he's got so-and-so on. We need to listen to this. I was just like, this is insane. This is insane. So, yeah, that's stuff like that. When that happens, don't get discouraged with it. Keep your head up and keep working hard at it. And things will happen. You just stick with it. Like I said, you two have got chemistry. And that is the most important thing right there. Because if you guys got up here and were just like, which sometimes you guys do that, but I mean,
I'm just kidding.
Just messing. But yeah, that's the most important thing right there. You guys got chemistry. I need to find a co-host that I have chemistry with, that not exactly is, I don't want him to agree with everything, or him or her agree with everything I say, but we got to be in the same mindset on certain things. We can't, I just need to find that co-host, and then it'll be so much easier on me, because I can come up with these ideas. And there's one out there that I think could be a good co-host, and he's been on the show several times, and I'm not going to say his name right now, but we'll keep that under wraps just in case it might happen.
There you go.
So,
well, it is fun having a co-host. Sometimes it can get complicated with scheduling when there's two of you playing, because I'm sure being a single podcaster, you can just hop on like
whenever
in that moment. So it is hard.
I used to do it live. I used to just hop on and go live out of the blue. So yeah, that it does get complicated because this thing ain't gonna pay the bills. This ain't gonna put money, pay the light bill, put food on the table. This thing is just for fun. So you got to make sure you whoever the other person is good with that time. And sometimes it can get complicated, but it'll work out.
But with the right consistency, one day it could be what could pay the bills.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's the big part of consistency, is building up and seeing your progress and seeing where you started to where you are. Because I mean, even though, it's not paying the bills for us, it's not making the money for us right now, I've seen tremendous progress from day one up until now. We have made tremendous progress in how we talk. I mean, I fall short sometimes. I blank out once I see a camera sometimes, but I have seen progress from where we started, and that's amazing to me.
But when I talked to that guy on the phone for an hour that night, one of the main things he said was consistency.
Yeah.
And he said, whether you do it monthly, whether you do it weekly, be consistent, and it'll pay off. And their podcast, good Lord, I mean, theirs has grown leaps and bounds over the years, no doubt.
Yeah. And I think even like you said with the connections, that's one thing. You don't have to pay you anything. The connections are one thing. And me and Mallory, we used to, we haven't in a while, and that's something I do want to get back to doing, is when we were recording, we would have our day trips and we would have an experience and a travel day, and that got us out. It got us together, which, like I said, with our schedules lately being opposite, we have had to do more streaming, but we were trying to stay consistent. But something that the podcast had brought was those day trips and the adventures, and that's fun. And that could really flourish if we made connections with other people, because like even with Sadie, that could be a Florida trip, like if we wanted it to be. Right. So I think that would be really cool to get out there and just keep going for the opportunities and experiences to come, because regardless if it ends up being our full-time job or not, we always make memories every time we do a podcast, and we feel just inspired ourselves, like talking back and forth. So I do appreciate it. And we do look up to your podcast. I think you're very consistent, and I think that is amazing. And we've already learned something today.
Exactly.
So,
if I could
you're doing good, old man.
Young Padawan.
Not the old man. Oh, that's
like
number one.
I'm like the Obi-Wan of the podcast world.
There you go.
Yeah, that's perfect. Look at that.
Yes.
Wearing my hair long. I'm ready to figure it out.
But to touch base on running, Stevie is very consistent with that. So every morning almost, we said he's out walking, running, doing something like that. So like, how does that differ? What is encouraging you to stay more consistent on that part? Like, is there a benefit for you there? What's your like main purpose there?
Okay. So going back a few years, why, and I know this is probably going to be one of y'all's questions, so I'll go ahead and beat you to the punch. Why I started doing this, why I started running. To sound like Forrest Gump, I was running. Yeah, I was running. Honestly, and this is going to sound, it's kind of like Forrest Gump. There was a relationship I was in when I was in my early 20s that went wrong. And just one day, I was sitting at home and I was like, I got to do something to get out of this funk. And the school that I went to was right across the street where I play football at. And they have a kind of like a track around there that you can run around. I went out there, and next thing you know, I'd been out there an hour and I didn't even realize it running. And it was just like clear in my head. and I didn't do it. I did it for a little while then, but one of the other reasons I do this, um, my dad, who is no longer with us, he had a lot of heart problems, and that's kind of when heart problems can be hereditary. So one of the things I started doing, I got back into running again after he had started having his problems, and he saw me doing it, and he saw how I was doing a lot. He said, "You need to keep doing that, keep that heart going." Uh, I wish I had done that more than what I had. So I just him saying that just made me want to do it even more. And it does clear your head. When I get out there and I start running and things are going, I've usually got this earpiece in. I'm usually either listening to music. Most of the time when I run, I'm listening to music. If I'm walking, I'm listening to a podcast. But I get a lot of things out of my head. I guess it's
Yeah.
like therapy for me. And there's a lot of things that went on the last 3 years with me. And so uh, I've used that to keep that from getting in my head too much. And like so far, and I made goals. The first goal I made and this was years ago, I think 2016, I started keeping up with on my Nike app on the phone, and I made goals like, okay, this year I want to run at least a mile a day, 365. That got to where I was like, gosh, I'm gonna beat that to death if I keep on at this pace. And in the winter months, at first in the winter months, I was like, I ain't going out there because I can handle the heat a lot better than I can cold because the way I feel like I Mallory will tell you, I've got several different cutoff shirts and stuff like that I wear. But one of our neighbors, this little girl, our neighbor said, "You wear the same thing every day when you run." That's because I've got different. I do wear different shorts, but I'm not wearing the same shirt every day. But anyway, I don't like getting out there and having to bundle up
Yeah.
to run. But this year, I did it. I did it more in the winter months than I usually do. Um, so right now, I'm almost at 4,000 miles in the last 7 years, I think. And I
That's
went
amazing.
I went over just Saturday. I went over 500 miles for the year. I'm getting 100 miles, and this ain't much to people that do it all the time. They train for marathons, but I've gone over 100 miles a month for the last 4 or 5 months.
Phew.
But being consistent with it, it's just some days when I don't do it, I feel like bleh. I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
don't feel like I'm myself. And when I look back on it, I say, what did I do differently? I mean, I'm not feeling sick, but it's just like something was missing that day.
Hmm.
Uh, and people will tell me all the time, some of these guys are running, you need to take a day and not do it. Um, but it's just like I said, with that, when they said that, because they were like, you don't want to hurt your legs, you don't want to mess up some of your legs
Overdo
running
it.
every time
Mhm.
or exhaust yourself. So some of them days I will walk. People will see me walking around here, and I do that. I do that more now than I used to. But as far as being, it's consistency, it's being disciplined enough to do it. I'll shoot. I get up now with the time change. There's been some mornings I've been up at
Mhm.
6 o'clock and start walking or running at 6 o'clock.
That's what I was going to ask you. That's one of my questions that I was going to ask that I had put in last minute was with time change, and you mentioned you do it in the morning and in the afternoon. I was going to see like if time change played a big role in your routine and how it can make you feel like running in the morning, afternoon.
Yeah, the more daylight I have, the better.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to get out there. I'm not going to get out there till the sun comes up, till there's light out. Because you don't never know what you might run into. You still might run into something in daylight. I have run into nothing big. I mean, skunk or a couple. One time, but luckily enough, he was far enough away where he got. he moved out of the way before I got there. But you never know what you might see. I mean, I've
Yeah.
heard some things growl at me and stuff like that, but nothing's ever happened with that. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, the more daylight I have, the more I can do. Winter months, I'll get it in the morning, and maybe sometimes in the afternoon when I'm off work, I can get both of them in. But um, that's been my challenge to be disciplined enough when it's colder out to get out there and do it. Like I'm not talking about when it's 40 degrees, I can handle it. When you get down to like 30, 20 degrees, and I have gone out there and done it, people have told me you are crazy for being out there like that. I'll have two or three. This year I put like 2 layers of clothes on and bundled up ski masks. I know people in Alaska thought they were about to get robbed. Yeah, that
You got to do what you got to do.
I have been more consistent with it in the winter months, which was really my slack months. Because in years past, I would get to a point when I was really running more than anything, I would get to a point where I was like, I could run 5 miles, no problem, nonstop.
Mhm.
But then the winter months would come and I would slack off. And anybody that runs will tell you, once you get out of that routine, getting back to the shape you were in is so hard. And it's so frustrating because you're like, I used to do this, no problem.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And now
Austin
I'm just,
explained that. Coming from basic training or whatever he used to call it something else. I don't think he liked calling it basic training, but basic training he ran all the time, and he said he
yeah.
can't do that no more. He was like, I
Yeah,
can't.
I mean, once you get out of it, because I remember uh, it was one time when I was really doing it. I mean, running, and my dad went in the hospital when I was away for a while. I didn't have time to run, and when we finally got him back home and I was able to start running again, I was like, I'd get out there and be like, and then I just have to start all over with my routine. And right now, I'm starting over with my routine of trying to build myself back up to running where I could run, that 5 miles again without stopping. But gosh,
Yeah.
either I'm getting really old, or because it's taking me a lot longer to get to it than I used to.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah. I feel like we were doing good when we were doing it together, but schedule wise, we're not together often. So I think we do need to find the discipline to do it separately and just check in like a buddy partner system, maybe
Yeah.
where we're like, hey, I did this. I have replaced running a little bit though with working out because that was my mental thing that I got a lot of benefits. Like you said, you used it for like mental health reasons somewhat, and that is the gym and working out. Like Austin and I and even mom, we would go to the gym all the time, and we went like 3 days a week every week, and that I feel like was when my mental health was the best. Like I felt so just strong and confident and clear, and once I fell off of that, I could definitely see a difference. So when we started back running, I kind of felt that. I was like, that did really good because actually, like science, your blood is pumping. You are actually
Yeah.
clearing your head.
Yeah.
You're getting everything back and kind of like rebooted. It reboots you, and it's good for your immune system and everything. So it just makes you feel good. And we did feel so good when we were running. So being that we had taken the pause, I have been replacing it a little bit more with working out. And even then, like it just gets those red blood cells moving. It gets your body pumping. And I do love that. So I definitely want to run some more. And we were going to ask, you said you're not like looking to do marathons, but I have seen you do some. Do you have any more that you're planning to do?
I haven't really planned on anything because, I did a 5K. I did my first 5K, which it was ironic. It was at where I was coaching at, where I went to school at Northeast, and I finished pretty good. I ran my best 5K time that I've ever run. I ran 28 minutes. In my division, I was first place. So I did good for my first one. I've had some talks with some friends that do the marathons and have done the marathons and are doing some more. You need to do this. I'm like, that's a different monster to tackle there. I need to do some more 5Ks before I graduate to a marathon. So, but who knows? Maybe eventually I'll get to that. But I would love to do some more 5Ks. That was so fun. But
Yeah.
the funniest thing about that 5K was this whole time when I was running, and I did stop for the way back. Okay, let me see how I can explain this. So everybody has told me that runs it. You got to pace yourself. You got to sit at a pace where you're going to be able to finish. You're not going to be. If you've ever watched that movie, I don't know. Mallory's probably. I think we've watched. It's been a while with Kevin Costner and McFarlane, USA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kevin Costner ends up going to a Mexican town. It's got Hispanic boys there that had never run marathons. They work all the time, but he takes them and turns them into a cross country team, and he stresses with them about staying on pace. One guy in the final race, his adrenaline gets going so much, he gets off his pace that he's supposed to be on. So he falls back at the end, and the guy behind him has to pick it up. Well, I'm always, like I said, I'm not going to run unless I've got something in my ear to listen to music or something, because that motivates me. And I had my playlist that day ready to go, and as soon as I started, adrenaline was going, and I got I looked at my pace on my Nike app, and I was like, I am way too fast right now. I am not going to finish. So I got halfway point, and I was like, okay, I'm good. Maybe I'll be all right. Well, I got about 3/4, and that's when things started, catching up with me. And there was this young girl behind me, and she was a little ways back, but I was like, know exactly what she's doing. She ran cross country for her school. When we got to a certain point when we were about maybe almost 50 yards from the finish line, I heard those feet just start. I was like, she's getting ready to go by me. And I was like, I could be like a NASCAR driver and block her, but I don't think that would look good with a 52-year-old man blocking a teenage girl right now to try to, knock her off the road or something like that. But yeah, she went by me. She had paced herself. She did exactly like she was supposed to. But I finished ahead of some of those cross country guys. So and most of my football players that ran it off.
That is an accomplishment. I don't know. I've shared it before. Mallory knows them, but there's a customer of ours. Her husband Tom, he runs.
Oh yeah.
And does marathons everywhere around the world. It's literally like monthly. They travel somewhere to run a marathon, but then they do their vacation apart with it or whatever. And I just think that's so cool. And like we said with the podcast, and then like me and Mallory do day trips with the podcast, running could open that door too. So I really think it's fun to do things like that, not just for yourself and mental health, but for the opportunity. If you actually did start looking into where's a 5K near me, then it's going to send you to there. It's going to send you that opportunity to go and travel and do things. And I think that's so fun. So me and Mallory actually set a huge bucket list that we were going to run our first 5K at Disney World, which it has been postponed a little bit due to finances, but it is still a goal of ours, and it would feel so good to do that. And I don't know, it's like one of those bucket list things. Like you can say you ran a 5K at Disney World and gave more purpose. Like it gives purpose.
Like, could you imagine running through Hollywood studios with all the Star Wars stuff? Like, that would be a whole dream. Or even anything at Disney World. It don't even have to be Star Wars themed. Anything at Disney World, that would be one of the biggest accomplishments ever.
And sure. I have people that have ran in New York City, and that's just really cool to say. I ran a marathon in New York City. Yeah, super cool. And you do just get to take in different scenery and just different ways of life. And I think that would be really fun. And I've actually seen the 5Ks and marathons at Disney. They dress up and it's really fun, which that is a little over the top. But it would be fun content, and it would be fun to do together, like making your outfits and seeing other people how creative they are. We would definitely not be doing like the Big Bird and stuff like I've seen. I can barely run with my shorts and t-shirt on, but there are some really cool things to witness, and I'm very interested in that. The only downside I will say, and I wasn't in the marathon, I had people in the marathon, but I witnessed as a Disney goer at the time of the marathon, they had to rent extra buses because of the runners joining. So they had to rent extra buses, and we all shared. They didn't have dedicated buses, which maybe Disney World should do that, like dedicate certain buses to runners only. But we were all sharing buses, and they had, like the old timey travel buses with like the fabric seats, and the runners like got up and it's just soaked with sweat, and we had to sit after them. And I was like, why, runners, why are you here? But then I want to be one of them. So it's so funny how full circle moment that is.
Full circle.
And there's a lot of, if you look at some of these 5Ks around, like there's a lot of them at the beach, at Virginia Beach and stuff like that. There's some of them that are themed 5Ks. So
like the color splash.
Yes.
The colored one. I wouldn't do the mud one. I would fall.
That's what I was about to say. I would preferably love to do the mud run. That would be so much fun.
But I haven't got that far into it, but hopefully there'll be another 5K once I'm ready again, and I can get myself back.
We should try to do one together. That would be fun.
You girls need to get the Nike app on your phone, and then
I have it.
You can be friends with me on the Nike app. We can keep up with each other. So
I erased it when we stopped running for my storage, but I downloaded it when we were running, so I have to get it back. But I do enjoy it. And just for those watching, like I said, I laughed at those runners 5 years ago. I was like, what are y'all doing? Like, I'm at Disney World trying to, do Disney. Why are y'all running here? But now I get it. Like, it's such a dream of mine now. And it's just fulfilling. It's filling your cup. And whatever way fills your cup, go for it. Like, and don't think you can. Like, 5 years ago, my lungs couldn't do it. I would not be able to run and do the things. So, like, then I would say I would never run. But now I want to run, and I've tried running, and it's not that bad. It's hard at first, but like you said, the more consistent you are, the easier it gets, or the just more of the norm it gets, and your body will get used to it. So just try and get out there, because you never know, and it can lead to very grand experiences. Like, you never know. It could be running in Hawaii in the next 5 years, like Tom. I mean, who knows?
Nothing if you feel like it's worthwhile is going to be easy.
Yeah.
And it's just like I've told Mallory when you guys started running, you're not going to go out there and run not even a mile at first without having to stop.
Yeah.
I didn't. I would set goals where I would start, okay, I'm running a quarter of a mile, then I'll walk for a tenth of a mile, and then run another quarter of a mile till I built myself up to where, okay, I'm running a mile without stopping.
Yeah.
Then I was running 2 miles without stopping. Then every day, my goal, because you can set goals on this for your day, your runs each time. And every time when I run, I'm going to go at least, unless something comes up, I'm going to do at least a 5K every day when I start running or walking. And a lot of times if I'm out, the days I'm off, one of those times will be 5 miles. Mm-hmm. And I just want to get my muscle memory into it where, okay, we know, the muscles know you're going to do at least 5 miles when we're doing this. And that's a big thing. Muscle memory is a big thing with it too.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and I'm not saying by no means am I an expert on this running thing, but it's things. And another thing you need to watch too. A guy told me about this is the way you breathe when you run.
Yeah.
Yes. We were really big on that.
Yeah. Because I can feel it in my chest when I run. And that was one thing Austin had taught me from basic training. And it stuck with me because I had told him when I started even working out hardcore, I was like, I can feel it in my chest. And he was like, you're holding your breath when you're doing it. You're not breathing correctly. And it really can mess you up. Like lightheadedness, faintness.
It can make you start cramping too. If you start cramping,
those side pains that we get, those big side pains that everybody talks about, it is because of your running. And when we were running, it was colder outside. So you especially need to work on your breathing because, I mean, if you breathe wrong in that cold air too much, that can cause pneumonia, all that. It's risky, but it's a good thing at the same time. Running like that is a great thing at the same time if you do it the right way.
And it's like I said, but you need to set your pace. If somebody told me this too, if you're running and you're not able to talk without, you're running too fast. You're running too fast for you. And it's not saying that you won't get quicker, but at that time you need to set that pace and be where you're able to talk while you're running without people not being able to understand you. So that's another thing you need to watch out for. And I found myself yesterday when I was running, like I catch myself like, okay, you're not breathing right, and I can feel it coming. And what I do, and people will probably see me out there, and I just put my hands out and do like this, and just reset. It's like a reset for me, and I was like, calm down, just get yourself reset, go then.
Yeah.
And people would tell me all the time, just like you talking about those runners. If one of the lines I hear all the time, the only time you're gonna catch me running is something chasing me. I just heard that the other day from somebody that saw me over there out there running. Said, "What is chasing you right now?" I was like, "Nothing's chasing me right now. I'm just doing it." I mean,
like freedom is chasing me. I'm chasing freedom.
I'll tell you, I'm pretty tired. I'm ready to go home.
Yeah,
but
I feel like people that don't get it people that don't do it don't get it. But I always feel like I try to compare, like I want to start running, I'm going to go running, like we're going to run. And you don't need to think that way because comparison is a thief. Like if I did that and I started feeling sick each time, I'm going to stop because I'm not going to feel comfortable continuing on if I get sick every time. But learning to actually take time to listen to your body and what you can do and build up, it would actually be beneficial and you would probably enjoy it a lot more. Because Zach, he watched us run and he was like, y'all are crazy, like I'm too old, my knees hurt, blah blah. But then he started feeling really bloated one week and he was like, I'm gonna start walking. And he started walking and he enjoys walking, so he hasn't gotten to running yet, but now that he's down 10 pounds and he's feeling better, and he said that he's not as tired and he can literally feel benefits. Like I said, he's not as fatigued, he's losing weight, he's actually gaining confidence with it. He'll probably be more likely to start running, and maybe he'll join our 5K now. So you never know. And that was just by him walking on his own terms. So like go to terms with what you can do and just start, and you never know where it will take you.
Exactly.
It's just like that. I go back and look at myself when I was in high school playing football, playing basketball. I hated running. Yeah. And when they said you had to run laps, I was like, good Lord. And now if I just wish, and with all the football players I've got now, all these football players I had killed me when they talk about, well, I'm in the gym every day now. I was like, where was that when you were in school and I needed you to do this? But it's like that with everybody, I think.
Yeah.
There's a few that would do it when they were in school, but very few and far between. But the older I get, like I said, that's why, health, not just physical health, but mental health is one of the reasons why I do it as much as I do.
Yeah.
And that's why we started it too. Like we set the goal for Disney just to give it like momentum, like to give something to strive for. But me and Mallory both started to just try to relieve some of the thoughts and pressure. And like you said, your dad's health, my dad died of a heart attack at a very young age. And I was thinking, like, cause I was a smoker, and I was like, the way I've smoked and done like hardcore things to my lungs and my body, I need to help rejuvenate and build back up so I'm not going to go downhill so fast. And I feel like running, I looked up running, and if you look up running benefits, it's like thousands of
So
benefits.
many.
Ton of benefits.
Yes, and it really helps your heart and lungs. And I was very encouraged with that alone. I was like, I feel like I will live longer for my kids if I started exercising and moving my body more rather than eating my chips and sitting on the couch watching TV or my phone. So I was trying to replace with better habits and letting go of those old habits like terrible smoking and things like that. And I replaced it. And like I said, even though I fell short with running recently due to the weather and the kids, I can't go running down the road when I got the
Exactly.
kids. But I replaced it with working out, and I still get the heart going. So just trying to stay consistent with movement and just
getting
healthy
some kind of physical activity, some kind of exercise. Yeah, that's the key right there.
Yeah.
And whether, just like with Zach, you talking about with Zach, and people talk about, well, he's not running, he's walking, but you're doing something. You got to build yourself
You're
up.
moving your body. You are moving your body. That's all that matters.
If you want to run, you got to start somewhere. And I mean, just like with lifting weights, I used to tell the guys that were first starting playing varsity football when they'd be in the weight room, look, don't worry about how much you can lift up here to start with. Build yourself up. I said, all these guys that are doing this, they've been here for 2 or 3 years doing this. They had to start somewhere too. So don't be ashamed of yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. And lastly, on that, before we get you with the drill, just don't knock it till you try it is what I really want to say to the viewers, because like I said, I was knocking those runners. I was like, I'm not going on vacation and running. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you see those influencers online, they're running every morning, just like you. I'm like, look at him starting his day running, and I can barely get dressed over here on time.
Get out of bed.
When you actually start and you see for yourself, you will make it work. And like Zach, he knocked it when we did it. He was like, y'all are running, like, okay.
Yeah.
But
when
he started seeing physical and mental change, like, and he doesn't get the mental part of it until now. And he's like, I actually do feel better. And I was like, see, you don't have to think so hard into it, and just try new things. You never know what will stick. Some things are not going to work for everyone, but you will never know unless you gave it a shot.
Exactly.
Or keep an open mind for it. So.
And I remember one of the first times he had noticed it, because we went running one day. It was like fairly early in the morning. We went running, even though that morning we were like, oh gosh, like getting up out of bed was, a pain, but we did it. And when we got back in the house, Caitlin was like running. She's like, I'm gonna go clean this. I'm gonna go do that. All this, She had the energy, more than usual to go and do all these things. And I remember just like Zach was like, whoa, like, okay, like, it really does do something to you. And people you would think it'd have the opposite effect. You think it would, you're using that energy to go and run, and it's taking out all your energy for the rest of the day. No, it's the complete opposite.
It takes away that brain fog, and people don't understand brain fog is a real thing. They just think it's like it's life, it's their energy, it's their health. And I'm like, there is some help there. Like you can brain fog.
One thing you did mention earlier, I want to stress this too. Pay attention to what your body's telling you too. When you're running, you can't overdo it. And there was a time when I first started a few years back, heat like this, like we've had last week, and I was just, I was like, I was in my 40s then. I was like, oh, this ain't gonna hurt me. I can't. I'll push through it. there was one day that I honestly think I was close to a heat stroke. Um,
Yeah.
I came back in and I just felt like it was something like I hadn't felt when running before. Uh, I went and took a shower. My whole body was just felt like, poof, and my head was hurting. And it took me a day. Luckily, I was off the next day because
Yeah.
that day I was just fatigued and just didn't feel right. And I just look back on that. But not just that, but one of the most important things, your legs, your
Yeah.
knees. If you feel something that doesn't feel right with your legs or your knee, and it's consistently like over, you need to take a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Break from running for a few days till you feel better, and then try it again. If it comes back again, then you need to take a little bit more time. A guy that I graduated with, he runs all the time. He runs a lot more than me. He told me he looked he was friends on my Nike app, and he saw how much I was running. He was like, "Hey, you might want to take a break. You
Yeah.
know, your legs are going to start telling on you, and you may get physical exhaustion too. But you just take a break, or either dial it down the amount that you run on some days, and then move it up for another day." So
Yeah.
I do listen to people, believe it or not. I'm not
Yeah, you do have to take it easy. Like even way back in the day when I was playing softball, we had to do a lot of running, and I actually ended up on crutches because I had shin splint, and they said it was
Yeah.
me overdoing it, and it was because I was competitive. I wanted to be the fastest, and it will cause physical injury if you're not careful. But then there's another side of it where Zach has a hurt knee, so he was like, "I'm not gonna start running because I have a hurt knee already." But he's feeling the pressure lift while he's walking. Like he's like, it's actually doing good for my knee
Yeah.
to walk and work it out kind of. So
Yeah.
you just have to really learn how to listen to your body and take care of it.
Yeah, because like even with me with, my somewhat bad knee, if I don't do anything on it, it's going to lock up. Even if I do something on it every once in a while, I'll lock up. But I've noticed when we do run and when we do walk, I've noticed a big change in my knee and everything. But when I'm not, doing much on it, it'll lock up. All the bad will be on it. So yeah, I do agree that pressure will lift when you're active on it.
My junior year in high school, the second game we played, football game we played that year, we were in a pile, and one of the players from there, he did it intentionally. He took his helmet and headbutted me right across the kneecap, and it just went numb, automatically went numb. And I played, Mallory will tell you, my daddy was kind of scary when he wanted to be. Uh, he had told me, if you ever get hurt and you don't come out of the game, you think you're hurting then, you can be hurting when you get home. So he looked at me.
It's frozen.
There we are. We're back. So
No, you're still frozen. Oh, there you go. There you go.
anyway, maybe they didn't want to hear this story, but that knee, I can feel it from time to time, and I really watch that. I know what Zach's talking about.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you're kind of wary of it, but it had, knock on wood, it hadn't popped up on me yet. So hopefully that won't be a problem.
Well, that is something. Yeah, I would definitely suggest like braces. Maybe talking to a doctor, y'all, if y'all want to start things with injuries. Like,
Yeah.
don't
If you got
just
something
start.
really bad. I've never had to have surgery on it, but if you got something really bad, you need to definitely
Yeah.
Yeah,
look into a brace or something.
yeah, seriously. But definitely try new things, y'all. And find something that will help your mental, your soul, your physical body. Because we only get this one shot. So
Exactly.
You only hear it for one go around.
yeah. So anyhow, we're gonna end on the drill. So when we were on Stevie's podcast On the Flythe, we were hit with a drill, and it was like these
drill, 2-minute drill.
We had these questions, off the wall questions, and we had to answer really fast. Stevie did us dirty, and he like had.
I told y'all that was going to be a
things.
part of it. I told
Yeah.
y'all that would be a part of it.
I was not prepared. He was like, "You should know this," and I'm like, first of all, I know the song. I don't know the name. I know the TV show, but I don't know the name. Like, do not give me actual factual questions.
Right. Well, I go blank. I just
and
go blank after.
But since then, me and Mallory has incorporated drills on our podcast. We did one with the twin episode, and it was a lot of fun. We do more of like the this or that style, like this or that is going to be how our drill works this time. But yeah, we've got some kind of fun for Stevie, and I'll let Mallory take on that.
So it's going to be 2 minutes. 2 minute drill.
Are you timing me?
Yeah.
I didn't time you guys that bad. Because y'all were like, oh.
Sorry.
Yeah, we would have failed.
That's in the past, okay? That's in the past. This is now.
I'm ready.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Okay. Sweet or salty?
Sweet.
Okay. Books or movies?
That could be a tie. I could go either way there. I'll go with movies.
Oh, wow. Okay, I was about to say.
Oh, you're a reader? Let me find out.
I've got a shelf back here.
Oh, you're on the 2 minute drill. Jedi or Sith?
Shut up, Jedi.
Pizza or tacos?
Pizza.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Lightsaber or blaster?
Lightsaber.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Original trilogy or prequel trilogy?
Original trilogy.
Cookies or brownies?
Brownies.
Walking or running?
Running.
Luke or Han?
Luke.
Okay. Look, and you had 47 seconds to spare. Good job.
Yeah, and look, let me tell you, people do this all the time with the Luke or Han thing. They say, "Oh, Han," but when you watched as a kid, as a 5-year-old kid,
yeah,
when the story was based around Luke Skywalker, I mean, it had to be Luke then. And Luke may have turned out to be kind of a not as tough as Han, for sure, not as tough as Han. But I mean, he had the Force. Come on, how cool is that?
Well, I like Luke's dad, so
you're weird. I like Luke's dad. That didn't even sound right.
Okay, well, you get what I mean.
I think Luke just has that heart in him too, whereas Han is for the mission. Like, he has got a heart, but he's like kind of confident and cocky, and he's got like his eye on that goal and mission, where Luke is like literally just that force and love.
Well,
I definitely pick Luke.
Leo for me, actually.
Remembering it back as a kid, watching it, I did think Han was cool because watching it, and you sitting there watching him take the money and run at first, and then you're like, God, he's gonna just ditch his friends, and he said maybe he won't a friend after all, and then you see him at the end come out of nowhere. That was pretty cool. So, but Luke, I mean, that story was always centered around Luke, and as a kid, there's not many kids. I guarantee if you took a poll, 85% of the kids would say Luke, especially back at that time.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a controversial one to add because, like, I don't know. I feel like mine would probably be less picked. But, like, would you pick R2-D2 as a sidekick or Chewbacca?
Ooh, that one's hard.
That's easy. Chewbacca.
See, I would pick R2 for some reason.
That's what I would pick too.
I feel like R2 was just down.
Nothing against R2-D2, but Chewbacca was so cool. And then you asked Mallory when we went to see. I don't remember which one it was, but one of the recent ones where you thought Chewbacca got killed when he went up into they got a prisoner and they carried him up the ship and the ship blew up.
Yeah,
that was worse on me than when Han Solo got killed.
Yeah.
I was like, they killed Chewbacca. I was like, oh my God. I No lie. I'll pay
Oh.
tears of my eyes.
See, I love Chewbacca. I've always loved Chewbacca. He is so loyal and just so friendly. But there are some moments where R2 like saves the day without even trying. Like he's just like no fear. He's like do 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 do, and like.
I thought you were going to ask R2D2 and C3PO. That would have been really easy.
Oh yeah, I did. Well,
What would you pick there?
R2D2 would be the choice, and it's like you said, R2D2 has saved the day many times.
Yeah.
I mean,
the garbage disposal.
Sometimes by accident, like when he set the fire with the oil and all that stuff by accident. So, I mean, and then you talk about being loyal. R2 shut himself off for all that time till Luke came back.
Yeah, I love a R2D2.
Me too.
But how did? And then we'll have to bring you guys back on the podcast when we have Star Wars.
For a real Star Wars episode.
Right.
For real.
I say Revenge of the Sith.
Well, I'll tell you what. If we do everybody that wants to be on Revenge of the Sith, it's going to be like Hollywood Squares up there.
Okay, but we're VIP, so at the top.
I've been on there twice now, but you guys have got the edge on some people.
We've only been on the Star Wars. Oh,
You've been on the show twice.
Okay.
I've got people I want to, like a 5 Timers Club. I don't know if y'all watch Saturday Night Live much, but Saturday Night Live has a 5 Timers Club where they give out jackets and all that. Of course, it's fiction, but I've got 2 in the 5 Timers Club right now. So,
well, I want a pin for the 3rd episode because Lucky 3 is all day long, and I want a pin. So,
Lucky 3. But,
well. Yes, this was a great episode. I enjoyed
it.
Having Stevie up here.
He was very
old man, old and wise, teaching us all the things.
Wow.
Old and wise.
Just say Obi-Wan will remember that.
Yes.
Your training comes, Obi-Wan will remember that.
This has been fun, and I hope everyone's enjoyed tuning in with us. And like I said, follow Stevie on the Fly, the Final Score on Facebook, because that's his main jam. But you can find him on Instagram and TikTok, and he'll post.
And we'll put it all in the description. Tag everything.
Thank you, girls. I appreciate it. And just remember, the Force will be with you always.
The Force is with us. Love and light always.
Love and light.
Yes. Well, thanks for joining, guys. Till next time.
Peace out.
Peace out.